What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. And this time we're going to be taking a look at Hatchet II, the sequel to Hatchet number 1, obviously. Okay, Hatchet 2 picks up immediately where Hatchet 1 leaves us with Mary Beth in the clutches of Victor Crowley screaming for her life. We find out that she manages to survive that encounter. She pokes Victor in the eye, giving her enough time to swim away. She eventually leaves the swamp. She goes to the Reverend Zombie character played by Tony Todd, tells her plight of what happened, and he tells her a story, and then pretty much agrees to go back into the swamp with her with a group of mercenaries so that she can collect the remains of her dead family, and that Reverend Zombie can rid the swamp of Victor Crowley so that he can take the swamp for his own. Alright, so that's the general gist of Hatchet 2. Simple enough. Now, let's talk about it for a little bit. I like Hatchet 2 on the same level I like Hatchet 1. You know, it's a fun movie. In terms of which one is better, it's all perspective. You know, some people think number 1 is better, some people think number 2 is better. I like them both on the same level. All right, I don't like one better over the other. There are things in this movie that I like that I do like better than Hatchet number 1. Tony Todd, you know, his character Reverend Zombie is more front and center. His character gets a little bit more character expansion, and he pretty much becomes the human villain of the piece. Like I said, you know, he agrees to take Mary Beth Dunstan back to the swamp, but he's doing it for his own selfish needs. He wants to rid the swamp of Victor Crowley's ghost, so that he can control the swamp and use it for tourist attractions, so that he can get more money out of it. And he also, you know, thinks that by Victor Crowley killing the people that killed him, that'll kill Crowley in return, almost like giving Crowley his vengeance, so to speak. So Reverend Zombie off the cuff, he's a scumbag, he's a piece of shit, and Tony Todd plays him beautifully. He's fantastic. He's theatrical. He's hammy, over the top, but it's Tony Todd, so he's able to just it still looks cool while you're watching him, and it fits into the movie that you're watching. You know, it's Tony Todd. He can make any role memorable, and he can make any part great, and he did that with Reverend Zombie, which was fantastic, and I like it a lot. Danielle Harris takes over the role of Mary Beth Dunstan this time, over Tamara Feldman, who did not return, and I like Danielle Harris better in this role than I did Tamara Feldman. I think Danielle Harris has a more commanding presence to her, you know, and I think she's a little bit more of a badass in her own right. Especially when we get to the very, very end of the film, where she just goes ballistic on Crowley with a hatchet, pounding his face into oblivion. And I also think that, you know, her acting was much, much better, because I actually can buy the fact that she's very upset that her brother and her father and that everyone was massacred by Victor Crowley. And I think Danielle Harris did a better job at emoting those emotions, especially in the scene where she's talking to Jack Cracker and Reverend Zombie. So Danielle Harris, that's a plus. No, we also get Tom Holland, the director of Child's Play and Fright Night. He plays Uncle Bob, Danielle Harris's character, Mary Beth's uncle. And, you know, for what it is, it's cool seeing Tom Holland. He's a horror legend, and him having a nice little role in this movie, got no complaints on that. We got R.A. Mihailoff, who is in this movie, plays a guy called Trent. You know, I like R.A. Mihailoff. You know, you might know him if you're a big horror fan from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. He played Leatherface in that movie. And he has a nice little role in this, and he and Victor Crowley have a nice little brawl at the end of the movie. So, you know, he brings a cool little presence to him, and so that's all fine and good. And in terms of characters that I actually liked, it ends there, because everyone else is pretty much stock, and they're not stock as in interesting. They're just stock as in they're just cannon fodder. They're the die. You got this redneck who, the second you see him, he looks like the most disgusting person in the world, and you're like, yeah, you're gonna die. You get this guy and this girl, and they have a random sex scene, and guess what? They both get off, and that entire scene is just so ridiculously stupid that I actually got a chuckle out of it. So pretty much, they're fucking. Victor chops the guy's head off. The body starts to have spasms, and he's like, while still thrusting her. And it was probably the best 10 seconds she ever felt, because the guy's convulsions were making her orgasm. So that was completely fucking stupid. And then Victor takes a hatchet and shoves it in her cooch. What the hell? And then he stabs her in the chest, and then he pulls the hatchet, but the hatchet's stuck. So it's almost like he's jerking off. And when he finally pulls out, the blood splatters onto a tree as if it's a cum shot. It is the most ridiculous, over-the-top scene in the whole movie. It's fucking retarded. It's stupid. But I laugh every time I watch it as to how fucking retarded it really is. It's definitely the most memorable kill, aside from the last kill, which is just completely ridiculous, in this entire movie. And I'm not going to give away the last kill of the movie, but just know that, it's... Oh man, what Victor Crowley does to Reverend Zombie is... Even though Reverend Zombie was an asshole, Jesus Christ, he wasn't that big of an asshole. I mean, goddamn. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy before he did to that guy. Oh. Man, oh man, oh man. And then you got this other guy whose name is like barely mentioned in the movie, but he sings a song about chicken and biscuits. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually laugh when he's on screen. He is pretty funny, but he is a random throwaway character, and in his death, and he and some other guy, their death is ridiculous because Crowley takes this chainsaw, which is the size of the fucking swamp, and just cuts them both in two, and you're just like, what is going on here? This is it. Now look, the kills in the first movie were over the top, but they were fun. The kills in this movie are over the top. But they cross that line into just being goofy. It really is like you're watching like this demented cartoon come to life. It's weird. I mean, it doesn't change my opinion on the movie overall, but you gotta tone down a little bit with the way you execute these kills. You gotta make them a little more like the first one, where they were brutal and shocking. These kills in this movie, they're not brutal and shocking. They're brutal. And then you take that extra step, and it becomes ridiculous, and goofy because you're going all the way. You got to pull back. So yeah, that's a negative for me. But however, that negative is countered by a good positive, and the good positive is that we get more details added to the Victor Crowley backstory. Kane Hodder once again plays Victor Crowley, also plays Mr. Crowley in these flashbacks, and we get a little bit more detail. We find out that Victor Crowley is actually a bastard child. We find out that Mr. Crowley had a wife, but she was dying of cancer, and Crowley and his wife's nurse, they were having a secret affair, which gave birth to Victor Crowley. But before Mr. Crowley's wife died, she pretty much places a curse on both of them, and Victor's mom ends up dying in childbirth. And we also find out that Mr. Crowley wasn't hiding Victor to protect him. He was hiding Victor because he was ashamed of his own infidelity. But we also find out that he also legitimately and truly cared and loved his son, and was truly heartbroken when his son died. And it's also revealed that Samson, Mary Beth's father, was involved in Victor Crowley's accidental killing. So that you're actually giving Victor Crowley and Mary Beth Dunstan that really cool dynamic, because they are in a way arch nemesis. So I like all that. That stuff was pretty cool, and that slightly takes away from the nonsense that this movie can also throw at you sometimes. So yeah. So, like I said, overall, I really do like Hatchet II. Like I said, I like it on par with Hatchet 1. It does have its flaws, but it does have things that are very enjoyable. Tony Todd, Arlie Mihailoff, the backstory, some kills that are actually done, that are fun and cool to watch. especially this nice little montage where you see Victor Crowley killing people in a swamp as Reverend Zombie is relating Victor Crowley's story to Mary Beth Dunstan at the beginning of the film. And we get a nice little cameo by Shawn Ashmore, who played Iceman in the X-Men films. So yeah, overall, Hatchet 2 is a solid 8 out of 10. I like it on par with the first movie. It doesn't make it any... It does not break new ground, but it's a nice continuation of the story that was established in Hatchet 1. So, 8 out of 10, best grade I can give this movie. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Adam Green's Hatchet 2. Like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you like professional wrestling, subscribe to my wrestling channel, which I will provide a link for in the description box below. Thank you very much, and goodbye.